The 1979 Canadian 1-cent coin, bearing the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, is a small but historically rich numismatic artifact that reflects both the cultural identity and monetary evolution of Canada during the late 20th century. This copper-plated coin holds far more than just face value. It encapsulates a transitional period in Canadian minting history, when traditional imagery, economic developments, and international influences converged. The obverse of the coin features a right-facing portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin, a renowned British sculptor whose iconic effigy was introduced in 1965 and used on Canadian coins until 1989. In this portrayal, the Queen wears a royal tiara, and her youthful appearance emphasizes her enduring role as Canada's constitutional monarch. Encircling her portrait is the inscription Elizabeth II DG Regina, which is a Latin abbreviation for Dei Gratia Regina, meaning by the grace of God, Queen. This phrase is a symbolic reminder of Canada's ties to the British Crown, as well as the constitutional monarchy system, which underpins Canadian governance. The reverse side of the 1979 1-cent coin is equally significant. It showcases a classic maple leaf twig design by G. Kruger Gray, first used in 1937 and continuing well into the 21st century. The maple leaf has become a quintessential symbol of Canada, representing the land's natural heritage, unity, and identity. Two conjoined maple leaves stem from a single twig, suggesting unity and diversity, a theme resonant with Canada's multicultural population and federal structure. The denomination 1 cent is inscribed above the leaves, while the word Canada is found below, flanked by the coin's date, 1979. This precise layout was a standard for Canadian pennies for decades, instilling a sense of continuity and familiarity for the public. The 1979 Canadian penny was minted by the Royal Canadian Mint, primarily at its Ottawa facility, which at the time was a major center for Canadian coin production. The coin has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, a thickness of 1.45 millimeters, and weighs 3.24 grams. Made primarily of 95.5% copper, with small amount of tin and zinc, it has a rich reddish appearance when freshly minted, which naturally darkens over time due to oxidation. The coin's composition and size remained consistent from the 1940s until the early 1980s, after which Canada began gradually shifting toward more cost-effective metals. As for its mintage, the Royal Canadian Mint produced over 866 million 1-cent coins in 1979, making it a very common issue. Because of this, most 1979 pennies found in circulation, or even in uncirculated condition, are typically of low numismatic value, unless in pristine, high-grade condition, a GMS 65 red, or higher. Still, for collectors, the coin serves as a nostalgic item or a gap filler in year-by-year Canadian cent collections. Economically and culturally, the Canadian cent in 1979 still held purchasing power, especially for small items like candies, public payphone calls, or bulk goods sold by weight. However, inflation throughout the 1970s began to erode the penny's practical use. This gradual devaluation would eventually lead to withdrawal of Canadian cent from circulation in 2013, making earlier issues like the 1979 cent a relic of an era when the smallest denominations still mattered in everyday commerce. The late 1970s were also a time of economic uncertainty in Canada, marked by rising inflation, oil crises, and labor unrest. Although not directly mirrored in coin design, these issues form part of the broader social and economic tapestry in which the coin was produced and used. Coins like the 1979 1-cent piece function not only as tools of trade, but also as unintentional witnesses to the everyday life and evolving national identity of Canadians. In numismatic circles, special interest in the 1979 Canadian cent may also derive from die varieties or mint errors, which, although not common, occasionally surface. Examples may include double dies, off-center strikes, or repunch mint marks, which can command modest premiums among error coin collectors. Most, however, retain only sentimental or face value. Nonetheless, they form part of a long and rich legacy of Canadian coinage. For children growing up in the late 20th century, pennies like the 1979 issue were often their first introduction to money, savings, or coin collecting. They were part of school fundraisers, piggy banks, store counters, and public transit fare boxes, woven deeply into the rhythm of daily life. Though now obsolete as legal tender, the 1-cent coin from 1979 continues to live on in collections, memory, and the broader narrative of Canadian history. It represents a time when even the smallest coin carried with it the weight of national symbolism, sovereign tradition, and economic reality, all within a tiny disc of copper next top. The 1999 Canadian 1-cent coin is part of the final decade of circulation for the Canadian penny, which would eventually be discontinued in 2012. Bearing the denomination 1 cent in the country name Canada, this coin was minted with a face value of 1 cent and was composed primarily of copper-plated zinc, reflecting the Royal Canadian Mint's ongoing experimentation with more cost-effective and durable coinage materials in the late 20th century. On the obverse front of the coin is a portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, which had been a staple of Canadian coinage since her ascension to the throne in 1952. Specifically, the 1999 coin features the third official effigy of the Queen, designed by Canadian artist Dora de Petrie-Hunt and first used in 1990. This design shows the Queen wearing a royal tiara, facing right, and is notable for being the first effigy of Elizabeth II on Canadian coinage that was created by a Canadian artist, breaking a long tradition of British or Commonwealth artists handling royal imagery. Surrounding her image are the inscriptions Elizabeth II and Digi Regina, short for the Latin day Gratia Regina, meaning by the grace of God, Queen. The reverse back side of the coin displays the iconic maple leaf twig, a national symbol of Canada that has appeared on the penny since 1937. This design, created by G. Kruger Gray, shows two maple leaves on a single twig, with the larger leaf symbolizing Canada's rich natural heritage, and the smaller one echoing its unity and diversity. The denomination 1 cent is struck boldly above the twig, while the country name Canada is inscribed below, and the date 1999 appears to the right of the leaves. The initials KG of the designer are also subtly engraved near the base of the twig. At this time, the coin measured 19.05 millimeters in diameter, was 1.45 millimeters thick, and had a mass of 2.25 grams, owing to its copper-plated zinc composition. This alloy gave it a bright, reddish-golden color when new, although over time and with circulation, these coins often darkened or became spotted due to oxidation and exposure to the elements. The year 1999 was significant for Canada as it approached the end of the 20th century, and the Royal Canadian Mint was actively producing both standard coins like the 1 cent piece as well as commemorative issues. While the 1999 penny itself was not a commemorative coin, it shared circulation space with the widely popular Millennium commemorative quarters, each representing a different theme of Canadian heritage and values. Despite being a small denomination, the penny remained a symbol of thrift and a key player in everyday transactions, especially in small purchases and giving change. However, even by the late 1990s, its utility was being questioned due to inflation and the high cost of production relative to its face value. Each 1999 penny cost more than 1 cent to manufacture, transport, and distribute, an issue that contributed to the eventual decision to eliminate the penny from circulation in 2012. In terms of mintage, the Royal Canadian Mint struck 1,089,625,000 of these coins in 1999, indicating the continued high demand for low-denomination currency at the time. These were minted at the RCM facility in Winnipeg, which is responsible for mass circulation coins in Canada. Despite the high mintage, most 1999 pennies in circulation today hold only modest collector value, unless found in uncirculated mint state or proof-like condition. Some coin collectors may seek them for date runs, typesets, or to study die varieties, but the vast quantity ensures they remain easily available. A particularly well-preserved 1999 penny might fetch a small premium, perhaps a few cents to $1, if graded MS-65 or higher. Occasionally, error coins such as off-center strikes or die cracks may emerge from this year, offering more significant value to error collectors. In the context of Canadian numismatics, the 1999 1-cent coin represents the tail end of the traditional penny era, just before the digital and economic shift that would render the coin obsolete in retail environments. As such, it is both a nostalgic item and a reminder of the evolving nature of currency. For some Canadians, especially older generations, the penny remains an emotional symbol of the nation's economy, childhood savings jars, or even the classic superstition of picking up a lucky penny. Thus, even though its monetary worth is minimal today, the 1999 Canadian 1-cent coin holds cultural, historical, and numismatic significance as a final chapter in the long story of the humble penny in Canada.